Y'all, let me tell y'all what got me cracking up, okay? So there was this post on Facebook, and it was like, when somebody stare at me, I stare back, because what is you looking at, right? So this one white lady commented, and she was like, no, I don't do this because I'm mean. So I'm either going to make somebody cry or make them swing on me, right? So the second white lady replied to her, and she was like, oh, you pretty and mean? Like, that's a lethal combination, right? So that's what made me go click on the first white lady page, right? So I looked at her picture. I almost commented like, nah, she just mean. But I was like, why do I even? Because that's my problem. That's my problem, y'all. I don't be lying. I don't be lying. But sometimes some stuff don't need to be said. Like, that's exactly what I'm struggling with a lot of times. Because I will say something rude and everybody be like, that was rude. I'd be like, okay, but did I lie though? Because I didn't lie, okay? So I was like, let me just be quiet, all right? But when I looked at her page to see her picture, what has me cracking up is the fact that she was from Rancho Cucamonga or whatever that's called, right? That got me to thinking about Buckwild from Flavor of Love. Y'all, when I tell y'all Buckwild got on my nerves, right? With that, it's time to get Buckwild, my dog, diggity. Like, she got on my nerves so bad, right? And she would always be like, well, this is my accent, my homie, right? But she was clearly lying because, first of all, that's not an accent, okay? This is the thing. White people and non-black people, period, they always do this thing where they have like this minstrel show version of a black accent. That's how they think we sound, but that's not actually how we sound. So just listening to her accent, any black person can immediately tell that's not her actual accent. That is just a minstrel show, right? Now, it's not just white people who do this. I made a video a couple months ago about this one Asian woman when she was like, yeah, I got me some cornbread. And everybody was like, girl, what are you doing? And she was like, yeah, I grew up in Atlanta. That's how we talk, so and so and so. Now, I ain't from Atlanta, but I've been to Atlanta a couple times, and didn't nobody talk like that. So I'm confused. Now, my people from Atlanta, y'all weigh in, but I don't think that's how nobody in Atlanta talk, right? And I remember that woman was Asian American. And a woman who was Asian, like from Asia, she defended her. She was like, yeah, my husband is, Asian, and he has a lot of black friends, and he switches his voice when he gets around them, and so and so and so. Now, it's one thing if you have an actual accent that you code switch into. Like my friend, right? She was born and raised in America, but her parents are Caribbean. So she can switch into a Caribbean accent. She really can, right? When she goes to the Caribbean, she can switch into that accent, and people think she's from there, okay? That's one thing. But it's another thing if you using some minstrel show as, like, if I go to the Caribbean and I'm like, bumba clap man, wagwan, everybody gonna be like, clearly you're not from here. That's not how we actually sound, right? Obviously so, okay? And my thing is this. Black people will sit here and we will tell y'all, that's not how we talk. And y'all will be like, yeah, that is. And it's confusing because if I got on here and I was like, ching chong ring a ding dong, yeah, I grew up around Asians, that's how we talk. Y'all would rightfully be like, that is not how we talk. You're just being racist because you're right? But when y'all do that exact same thing to black people and we tell y'all that's not how we talk, you're just being racist, y'all will sit there and argue with us. And that's crazy to me because y'all really be trying to tell black people about our culture. And that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. Because, like, my brother, he lives in China. He talks about this all the time. There's this white guy who teaches, like, hip hop or some shit in China, right? And my brother is always arguing with him like, you're wrong. Actually, A, B, C, and XYZ is the case. And this dude will sit here and be like, no, it's not that. Like, bro, you're white. And I tell y'all this all the time. It doesn't matter if you have a degree in African American studies or anything like that. I am an African American. You can study me all you want, but you will never have the firsthand lived experience. So shut the hell up and learn something, right? But again, y'all just be having this ego with black stuff that we're not allowed to have with y'all stuff. But I'm getting off track, right? So Buckwild had this clearly fake ass accent. And there was this scene where Like That confronted Buckwild about this accent, right? Because Like That was from California as well. And she was like, Buckwild, girl, you from Rancho Cucamonga. Don't nobody talk like that there. It's a bunch of white people. Like, what are you doing? Now, the crazy thing was, Like That confronted Buckwild so nicely. She was just like, Buckwild, like, why are you talking like that? I'm from California too. I've been to Rancho Cucamonga. It's not that type of party, right? And Buckwild was like, I'm so scared. I'm leaving the show. Like, oh my God, I'm so scared. And I was so, like, appalled at this reaction because Like That was a sweetie pie, literally. Now, if it had been like Boots or Delicious, now, yeah, I'd be like, okay, Buckwild, yeah, you might get beat the fuck up. You absolutely might. Because Boots and Delicious, yeah, like, they would gather you up. Now, mind you, Delicious wasn't even mean or nothing. Delicious would just defend herself. But Boots, yeah, she might jump on your ass, right? But Like That was a sweetie pie. Like that, there was none of that energy at all. So the fact that Buckwild was crying like, I'm so scared, I'm so scared, that was such evidence of the fact that these people view blackness in and of itself as aggressive. You can be the nicest, sweetest person in the world. You can approach them nicely and all of that stuff, and they will still act like you are attacking them. That shit was such an eye-opener. Y'all really need to watch Flavor of Love for real and watch that interaction. Now, here's my thing, right? I be going to this Thai restaurant on the east side of Detroit. For those of y'all who don't know, I am from Detroit, right? And there's this Asian lady who works there, okay? Like, she's clearly Asian. She is not Blasian. For those of y'all who about to be like, how can you tell her background? Because I looked at her. I'm tired of y'all acting like you can't look at somebody and tell what race they are. That woman is Asian. She is not half black, okay? But when I tell y'all she sounds black, and she legitimately sounds black, right? It ain't no minstrel show. It ain't no, it's time to get Buckwild, my home diggity. No, she sounds black, right? Like, to the point where if I called the restaurant and she picked up, I would think a black person was talking to me, right? And clearly people can sound black, because if you hear my voice, you know I'm a black person. Don't nobody like be confused by people's voices and what race they may be based off of them, right? So I asked her, I was like, where are you from? She was like, I'm from East 7 Mile. I was like, yeah, I can absolutely hear that in your voice, right? Because again, she legitimately sounded black. It wasn't like that Asian lady who got on the internet like, yeah, I got my cornbread. That's how we talk in Atlanta. Like, what? Y'all, I'm saying all this to say, black people know how black people sound. And we know if somebody actually grew up around us and actually has that accent versus if they just trying to be funny or something, right? Like, even if you, right, if you never went to school to learn the rules of AAVE, because, you know, they don't teach it in school, you know how it sounds. If you grow up around, you know, other black people speaking AAVE, you know how AAVE sounds. So you know if somebody is speaking it incorrectly, and you know if it's authentic or not. Like, for example, right? I was at work one time, and it was me and one other black girl, and we were talking shit about the manager. Because the manager, right, she would come into the lab and do, you know, observations and stuff, right? And while she was in the lab, she would always be all smiles. Oh, you guys are doing great. Everything is perfect. I don't have any suggestions, right? But then when she would write the observation up and send it to the higher ups, right, she would be talking a bunch of shit, right? And we was like, huh? Because she is clearly non-confrontational as fuck, right? So one of us said, yeah, she's scary as hell. And you know, when black people say that, that means that somebody is cowardly. It does not mean that they are a threat, right? So there was this Asian girl who was, you know, who was in the vicinity when we said that. And she was like, what? Golly gee Willikers, she's not scary at all. Like, she's so passive aggressive. And we were like, yeah, girl, when black people say scary, it's the exact opposite of like when, you know, y'all say scary, okay? And that's the thing about black English. There's all these meanings and nuances and stuff that you're not going to know if you don't actually fucking speak it, right? And then in addition to that, it's not even just the words, right? It's also like the tone and the inflection of your voice and all this other stuff, right? Like, we can clearly tell if somebody can speak black English or if they just saying stuff that they hear black people say and they're just imitating the way that we talk, right? We can clearly tell that. Like, again, it's not even just the words, because y'all use the words wrong too. Like, y'all still struggling with the habitual be to this day. Like, every time I see y'all trying to use the habitual be, it's horrific. Like, I heard one of y'all do it in real life, and it was like a cheese grater on my ears. It didn't even sound right, because again, y'all don't understand how to actually use that word. But in addition to that, again, it's also about the tones and inflections of your voice, right? So I don't get why when black people sit here and tell y'all, oh, clearly that person does not actually speak this dialect or whatever, y'all will sit here and argue with us. Like, you know more about blackness than we do. But that goes back to a point that I make on YouTube all the time. You all really think that you are the overseers of blackness, right? Like we can't tell you nothing about blackness, even though we are black and you are not, because you know everything. You are overseers, etc., etc., etc.